we were really building on these assets, but trying to bring them to life so that the user felt like they had some kind of inkling of what the place was like. And so that being said, every time we thought of any kind of idea that could have you feel that anymore, we had to add it in. There's one time in The Mummy where we made it when you touched the chest of the mummy.
You mean the nipple of the?
Well, yes, particularly the nipple. That he goes into like a little disco dance. He was like,
I think with Shrek, it posed a challenge because Shrek is a 3D world, and one of the things that we tried to accomplish from the beginning was, making something that was relevant and within the context of a 3D world. And so we had this whole elaborate 4D movie to work from, and we ended up realizing that there's no way we can use all that, because initially we weren't allowed to use character voices, we weren't allowed to use sounds or anything. We basically had to come up with a new 3D world, and that's something that was ridiculously insane. The first thing that we came up with was this notion of a photo gallery that existed within the castle of the Shrek land. And we developed this whole 3D wall that had all these photographs and everything that you could basically navigate in and out of, and the challenges of creating a navigation structure inside of a 3D realm that would make sense but also be, ubiquitous enough that you wouldn't be noticing it as some glaring text splattered on top of the environment. After looking at that whole world, we decided, this has nothing to do with the Shrek experience, because the first thing that people encounter when they come to the ride is the dungeon of, I think it's Farquaad. And so then we remade a whole nother 3D world that had a completely different atmosphere, and trying to keep that on brand with the Shrek, brand. And it was really challenging to basically redevelop this, an extension of the Shrek, ideology and everything associated with it, but still keeping it fun and lighthearted for a family and everything like that. And basically our way of getting around that was including, getting approval to use character elements, using sound, and having random interval events, things like that, because the user is in a playful environment, the sound is very playful, the animations are playful. It helped recreate the environment of Shrek without actually using the assets. So that was pivotal for that coming across.
But I can only stare in disbelief as the crowds all in.
We ended up dealing with the actual Seuss company, and we ended up dealing with the set director for the whole entire Seuss park at Universal. And he not only did he give us guidelines of exactly the way Seuss stuff should be set up, the perspective, how it should change, the colors. He commented on the grass. He commented on everything, the clouds. And we got so detailed with that, and we ended up having to go through a fourth round of approval where we had to go through the set designer, through the business team, through the marketing team, through the online team, then to the partner. And actually by then, by the time Seuss saw it, they were like, wow, this is really dead on. From the design perspective, Hard Rock was probably the toughest. Couple of reasons. Hard Rock itself, listen to the name, it's hard rock. You imagine heavy metal, and you imagine, when you go to the restaurant, exactly that kind of hard rock feel, right? And that's true of them. But they have this unique take on it where it actually is focused more towards mom. And what we ended up doing is really going more of we looked at the architectural style. And what we ended up doing is basically, if you go around Hard Rock Hotel, there are a lot of things to look at that they skew everything. So it's like this luxury hotel that they skew the architecture. So if you're in a main stairway and you look at the top, there's this beautiful chandelier that's all made out of saxophone, or this gorgeous fountain that has, the thing that's spewing out the water, it has sunglasses on.
There's just, like I said, I've been on a lot of shoots, and that was probably one of the most fun shoots I've ever been on. Taking the very camera we're shooting with, that's worth $55,000, maybe $7,000, cramming it in a plastic bag, and then sending the cameraman, Tom Bingham, awesome, down a water slide into the pool with it. gotta tell you, little dicey.
We had exactly 1 day to shoot in 2 locations at the park. We were shooting Hard Rock Hotel, and we were shooting Seuss Landing.
All of us acted like pros and made everything happen that had to happen, including Kathy, who swore it doesn't rain on her shoots, and it was a nice joke, but it rained all around us. We would look at the radar, would look at the weather, and we could see it raining, thundering, and lightning all around us, not on our shoot. Nice work, Kathy.
I'm leaving you. You got pain like an addict.
We had to pack up as quickly as possible and go over to the back lot at Universal. Basically, they gave us just an open
Warehouse.
studio / warehouse type thingy. The stuff was there, but we had to hang the green. We had to get our own chairs and bring our own food. But the Seuss people definitely showed up. We had Cat in the Hat, and we had Thing 1 and Thing 2, and Sam I Am. He was this, I don't know, 20 or early 20-something foreign kid who barely spoke English and somehow landed this cool gig as the Cat in the Hat. But it was very, very funny when you would tell him to run in place. Run in place. Yeah, run in place. And after about, 10, 15 steps in that costume, he about fainted.
Thing 1 and Thing 2 was really awesome is one of them was really saucy and the other one was really goth until they put their heads on. And then they were Thing 1 and Thing 2. One of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life was Thing 2 embarrassed because of how loud her belch was inside of her costume.
We're speeding here. Sweet.
Hold on, I gotta pause.
Look, all you had to do was point at the other one.
Why weren't we recording audio? Okay.
Look, she's turning red. Oh.
All right.
Are you gonna re-blush when the head comes off?
Are you okay in there? Like, does that stink? Or? Okay. Here.
With the Cat in the Hat house, it was particularly challenging because this whole scene needed to be composited into a scene where there was a real life character. And so not only was it challenging because of the modeling aspect and trying to hit the style for Seuss, but it was challenging because there was going to be a person. And like natural lighting is something that, is difficult to accomplish in 3D. You have to use radiosity filters and everything like that. And one of the things that we basically, tried to do was make it so that way the scene itself would animate like a cartoon but exist in a 3D realm, and at the same time composite with a real life realm. And so it was like meeting all sorts of different objectives for something as simple as a house opening up.
All I ever needed, all I ever wanted.
Yeah, I got to talk to one of the guys that actually worked on the VFX team for Spider-Man.
Okay.
Turns out they did the webs exactly the same way that we did the webs.
Okay.
Well, I started doing the webs and I thought surely there has to be a better way, and had a phone conversation with Rick in Los Angeles, and Rick said, this and this and this for Spider-Man 1, and this plugin for Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3, and da-da-da-da. But Spider-Man 2 was the easiest, and we just did vector masks and After Effects, which is what we were already doing. So we were on track.